Hello there, welcome back to the Once a Week Kitchen. Just about to upload a video of lasagna that I made as requested by someone in Australia. So I think it was someone in Australia. Anyway, as I came to edit the video, I found that one section it had not been filmed because the disc on my camera was full up, so it has missed a little section out, but I can explain to you what's missing. As I'm assembling the lasagna, I come to the top layer after the third layer of meat, and I finish layering the top layer of pasta, and then I spread the cheese sauce over the top and sprinkle it with Parmesan cheese. The next part of it, it shows the finished lasagna ready to go in the oven. So that really is all that's missed out. So I couldn't afford to just throw it all away and do another one just for the sake of that bit of film. So I do hope you'll understand. In the interests of thrift and economy, I'm going to upload it anyway, and I'm sure you'll be able to follow what happens. Right, lasagna. This is how we get started. I've got two 500 gram packs of lean steak mince. I've got two large chopped onions, 3 crushed cloves of garlic, nice fat cloves, 3 tablespoonfuls of tomato puree, heaped tablespoons, 2 beef stock cubes crumbled, and 1 vegetable stock cube crumbled. So I'm going to cook this in the wok because it gives me plenty of room. Right, in the wok I've got a tablespoonful of vegetable oil. So I'm going to pop in the garlic first and give it a little sizzle. Just for about 30 seconds, just to give it a cooked flavour rather than raw garlic. So next I'm going to add in the mince. So I'm going to start to break that up with my wooden spoon. Then I'm going to add in the onions, and this will help to break up the mince. We want it all to be thoroughly mixed. I'm going to keep cooking and stirring this mince until it's browned and changes colour before we add any of the other ingredients. It'll take about 5 minutes. Right, the mince has all changed colour now, so we can add the rest of the ingredients. First of all, I'm going to add in a spoonful of plain flour to thicken the sauce. So we'll sprinkle that over. Then the stock cubes. And finally the tomato puree. Right, we need to give this a good old stir. We want that flour to cook. Right, I've got a litre of water here. Gradually stir it in. What we need is just enough liquid to cover the meat. We don't want too much gravy because the lasagna needs to go in without draining off. We need it to be just meat and sauce. So we don't want loads of excess fluid, but it will cook down, will this? So there, that's a litre, that seems about right. So I'm going to bring this to a simmer now, and then I shall turn down the heat and cook it gently for an hour, by which time the meat should be very, very tender. Right, while the meat's cooking away gently, do give it the occasional stir. We're going to make some sauce to go on top of the lasagna. Make a basic white sauce and then add a little bit of cheese. So about 20 grams of butter, I would say there. I don't measure stuff really. I'm going to melt that. Right, the butter's melted now, so I'm popping in the flour. Your best friend when you're making sauce is a whisk. So we're going to stir that flour in. And what we want is no lumps. So we're going to simmer that roux now for about 30 seconds. Anything up to a minute, as long as you don't burn it. Little white pepper. And some salt. That's sea salt I've added. Right, next we want some milk. I would say about half a pint. And then you just stir that until it thickens. The most important part of making a sauce is the cooking of the flour. That is an essential part of it. If you miss that step out, you'll get a sauce, but it will taste floury. And that's how you stop it tasting floury, by cooking it first before adding your milk. So that's coming up to the boil now and it should thicken. There I will decide whether or not to add more milk, depending on the texture or the consistency. Right, it's boiled and thickened now. So I think that needs just a drop more milk. We want it to just layer the top of the lasagna. So I think that's just about right. So I'm going to turn off the heat and stir in some Parmesan cheese. And then I will top the lasagna with more Parmesan cheese before I bake it in the oven. So that's the sauce done, that's ready. Right, the meat sauce is done now. It's lovely and thick, and the meat's very tender, So we're going to assemble the lasagna. First of all, I've got some basil leaves here. There's about 15 or 16 of them. I'm just going to snip them into this sauce. This adds a lovely richness to the flavour. Give them a stir now. That's the last thing we do with the meat sauce. The basil makes a big difference to the flavour. Right, I've greased a square dish that I'm going to make the lasagna in. So I'm going to put a layer of the meat sauce in first. Just spread it out. And then put the lasagna sheets over the top. That's one. Two. So I'm going to fill these gaps with pieces because we don't want areas with no pasta. It does break up into strange shapes, but just use the bits up to fill the gaps. Then another layer. Another layer of lasagna. Finally, the last layer of meat sauce. There should be enough lasagna here to feed 4 to 6 people, I would say, because it's quite substantial. Make sure the pasta's completely covered with sauce. Finally, the last layer. So the lasagna is ready to go in the oven now, and I'm going to bake it for about 40 to 45 minutes. Right, the lasagna is bubbling away now. It's all cooked. So I'll try and cut it neatly and show you what a portion looks like when it's served up. It's quite difficult to lift out this, but I will have a go. See how we get on. So that will serve at least 4 people, maybe 6, depending on how hungry they are. So there you go, try it, it's absolutely delicious, and I will see you later. Bye.